I am blown away by the response so far to my new exclusive We Live Age of the Palladians #1 Black and White. Comes as a set by Johnny Desjardins. Thank you so much to everyone who's supported this project and supported this channel by picking up a set. And they are moving fast. We're less than 24 hours into the pre-sales, and I'm just blown away by the response, so I can't thank you guys enough. Also, we have a giveaway on deck. We have Amazing Spider-Man #289 in a CGC 9.4 with white pages. This is a YouTube giveaway for this month. All you have to do to enter to win is subscribe to the channel, comment on this video, and like this video. We also have a giveaway for the newsletter over at brycecomics.com. Amazing Spider-Man 362 and a 9.6 with white pages. And all you have to do to enter to win this is sign up for the newsletter at brycecomics.com. And every month that you stay subscribed, you're entered to win a free slab. Also, I just picked up a massive collection of all graded comics, and there's something like 300 slabs. It's way too much to do in just one video. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start listing them on the site, and we'll just chip away at it. So there's some listed now, and you can check back daily if you're interested. There'll be new slabs listed. We're also going to have a live sale next Friday, and stay tuned for more details about that. So in this video, we're going to take a look at last week's Trending 20, and we're not going to go over every single book, but we're going to take a look at most of them and just go through the thought process of some good critical thinking questions to be asking when you see a list like this, because a lot of times the knee-jerk reaction is to go just buy everything on the list. I know it happens to me too. When I see these lists, I get FOMO bad, and in the past, I've made some poor choices of when to buy in, and I think videos like this are helpful to just get in the habit of the critical thinking process behind when to buy in on books like this, which books to pass altogether, which books are should you go all in on, because by all means, sometimes when a list comes out, maybe not the Trending 20, but like speculation news or something like this, sometimes the move is to go buy as many copies as you can find on eBay. I've made a lot of money doing that, and timing is everything. Sometimes you have a few minutes to make that decision. Sometimes it's better to wait, and videos like this just start to lay out the framework for that of how to be critically thinking about these lists and speculation news. So with that said, let's jump in the computer and take a look at last week's Trending 20. All right, so here we are at keycollector.com, and we're going to look at the Trending 20. And first up, we have Star Wars Darth Maul #2, first appearance of Cad Bane, known throughout the galaxy as a ruthless bounty hunter. And this has gone to the moon because of Cad appearing in Boba Fett. And as you could see, this was actually on the spec list on Key Collector since January of 2021, and it was confirmed a year later. I totally understand why people are excited about this. I mean, he looks badass as can be in the show. Totally exciting, but I think at this point it's a little bit late to get in. Its prices as high as they have gone. This ship has probably sailed as far as making any money on speculation. But you know, if you would have speculated on it back when it was announced, it was going for more like between $30 and $50 for like over a year here. And that would have been the time to get in and cash out now, I believe. And in a similar vein, we have Star Wars Darth Maul #3, which is the first cover and the second appearance of Cad Bane. A little bit of a more affordable option, and you get him looking all badass here on the cover. But same thing for this one. I think the ship has sailed as far as speculation. I mean, this character could continue to show up. Prices could continue to rise as the character is developed in the current show, and he could show up in other shows. But I think, you know, right now is the peak of the excitement, and prices will probably not go too much higher than they already are. Black Panther #3, the 1 in 25 variant by Taran Clark. This is the first full appearance of Tosin Oduye, and as you probably have already heard from another YouTube channel somewhere, I mean, lots of people have done videos on this and they did a great job, so I won't belabor the point. But Bleeding Cool put out an article saying Tosin Oduye could be the next Miles Morales. And that is absolutely what spiked this book to the moon, because it got people correlating the two characters. The cover even has somewhat of a resemblance to Ultimate Fallout 4, the 1 in 25 Djurjevic variant. And I think people just put 2 and 2 together and thought, oh, this is my opportunity to get in on Miles Morales level character, the 1 in 25 at the entry level. And that's when they start thinking, oh, maybe $400 or $500 isn't too much to pay for a 1 in 25. Like how they wish they would have been able to pay $400 or $500 for the Miles Morales Ultimate Fallout 4 1 in 25 Djurdjevic. But I just want to remind you guys that Djurdjevic cover took a long time to get anywhere near the price of $400 or $500 after it came out. And that was after, there's already was some fanfare for Miles Morales. So the fact that this book is seeing such high gains so early, I think it's just obvious. Most people know at this point that I don't think it's really justified. And so, yeah, they're going to have a second print for this that comes out soon that actually has Tosin Oduye on the cover, which you can probably get for cover price. And thinking of it from a long-term spec, I mean, this spec definitely has potential. I mean, the character of Tosin Oduye definitely has potential. It's just a matter of considering the timing of your buy-in. As with the Miles Morales cover, the second prints, go for a lot of money, even though they're not rare by any stretch of the imagination. So the same could probably be said for Black Panther #3 second print. I mean, it's going to be over-ordered. There's going to be tons of copies, but if the spec plays out, if Tosin Oduye becomes a super popular character in the MCU, it could still be a really good spec if you pick it up for cover price. And there will likely even be more subsequent prints than the second. There might be third prints, fourth prints. So there could be other opportunities to get in on this character rather than paying the high prices that they are now. Next, we have Dead Day #1, and this looks like a really interesting story. Each year on Dead Day, the deceased return from sunrise to sunset, some to see family, others to party, and invariably a few with a score to settle. And 2,200% copies increase in copies sold this week because the Vampire Diary writers are adapting for Peacock. So I think this series seems like it has a lot of potential, and I also think that now would be a terrible time to get in on it. I think that these things take a long time typically to come to fruition. So there could be a long drought before we get any other kind of news. So wait for this thing to die down. And then, yes, I think it's a good buy. I think it would make a really awesome show or movie, but just wait for the right time to buy in. X-Men #36 from 1994, and this is the first appearance of Synch, a mutant who can assimilate other mutants' powers and wield them as if they were his own. And there's an increase in copies sold this week as Marvel teases Synch as an Omega level mutant. So I think this is a good spec, especially if you can get it for cover price. This Phalanx Covenant series and all of these X-Men series from this time period have this right here is foil, and they just look really cool, and the 90s nostalgia thing is probably going to pick up. So around cover price, I think this is a great spec. And one thing that's cool about this book is that they are also sold in these Marvel collector's packs. So if you search eBay for X-Men collector's pack, these things here have like 3 or 4 comics in each of them. Like this one has Storm #1, and you can buy it now for $19. And Storm #1, this is the first solo series for Storm. It's got the gold foil, and it's issues 1 through 4. There's some good potential here to get these books. If you can get them for the right price and get them graded, they could have some value. And here you can see the actual book that we're talking about here. It comes in this 3-pack. And if you look on the back, it says what's in the actual pack. So there's actually 4 comics in this pack, including X-Men 36, which is the one that's facing the cover here. And that's the spec book. And you can see it's got the foil. And in my experience, this one's still sealed. You definitely want to get ones that are still sealed. I've had a bunch of these, and they seem to hold up really well inside of these packages. They're actually... every once in a while, you'll get one that has like a solid crease that, just isn't worth grading. But for the most part, they're 9/8 as long as these outer packs are in pretty good shape. So there's some potential with all of these X-Men collector packs and Marvel collector packs in general. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man #88. And this is the first appearance of Queen Goblin in Ashley Kafka, and it's just came out, brand new book. I am absolutely shocked that this book is on the trending list. I thought for sure the way that this book was solicited, it's a Marvel run. I mean, they solicited this thing to death. I thought for sure this was going to be way over ordered and that there wouldn't be any value here. Much to my surprise, it's selling for $9, $13, $15 just for the cover A. I'm absolutely shocked about that. But it's a great sign of the strength of the market. I mean, I'm all for it. Like, good for this comic to be able to pull these kind of numbers for a cover A that was solicited to death. I think it just shows the strength of the market. And, you know, it is definitely a decent spec. There's by all means, this character could one day show up in the MCU. They could develop this into something way more. So it could be that there's some serious potential with this character. Now would be a terrible time to buy. I mean, I think that prices will definitely come back down to around cover price before anything actually happens with this character. So I wouldn't buy it right now. And there's also some awesome options for covers for variants. This is the I think it's a 1 in 10 design variant by Patrick Gleason. This is it must be a store exclusive and an Inhuck cover. So again, I would wait a little bit and maybe go for some of these variant covers for this character, for Queen Goblin. DC Festival of Heroes, the Asian Superhero Celebration #1. And this is the Art Germ variant featuring Cassandra Cain. And this is the first appearance of Monkey Prince, which has seen an increase because of the release of Monkey Prince #1. I want to remind you guys that this book also has a 1 in 25 incentive cover with Monkey Prince on the cover. And this is definitely going to be the money book for Monkey Prince. I think there's definitely some good potential for Monkey Prince, but it's going to take a long time for that potential to come to fruition. So now would be a terrible time to buy. I'm sure you can pick this up for a much more reasonable price when the heat dies down on this. But when it does die down, I think it would be a good pickup. Swordmaster #1. This would be my #1 pick from the whole list. I think that Swordmaster has a ton of potential. And the reason it's getting some heat right now is because the next Iron Fist series with issue #2 is displaying the symbol on Iron Fist belt that matches Swordmaster's sword hilt. So the spec here is that there's a new hero that's going to take on the mantle of Iron Fist, and all signs are pointing towards it being Swordmaster. I mean, they've dropped so many Easter eggs that it's going to be Swordmaster. I would be absolutely shocked if it isn't. That would be like the greatest red herring pull off that Marvel has ever done in history. So, and I'm kicking myself for not getting an exclusive for this new Iron Fist series. I think it looks so freaking awesome. The artwork is so cool. I love how they did a shout out to the original trade dress here with this trade dress. I just love that. And this new series hits stores on February 16th, and that's when we'll find out once and for all who the new Iron Fist is, and if it indeed, which it most certainly is, Swordmaster, then this book will continue to go up. But the real spec behind this book is the new Agents of Atlas. I think that the new Agents of Atlas and Swordmaster being a part of that team is where the true spec for this lies, and I would be surprised if we didn't get the new Agents of Atlas in the MCU. The Asian superhero thing with Shang-Chi and everything else has gone so well for them. I think that they're definitely headed in that direction. So I think that's the true spec behind this, and this Iron Fist series is just a bonus. I mean, I think we would get Swordmaster in the MCU as part of the Agents of Atlas way before he actually took on the mantle of Iron Fist, but that could happen too down the road. So for all of those reasons, I think his first solo series and his origin is a great spec. Thor #1. So this is the perfect example of how a cover really sells a comic book, because Thor #1 is the third cameo appearance, and nobody cares about a third cameo. It's all about her first cover appearance as Thor, because in the next issue is her first full appearance as Thor, but the price is way lower for issue #2 than #1 because everyone wants to look at this cover. Nobody wants to look at this cover. And this book will always demand a premium, even though it's less significant as far as the storyline, because it's a better cover. And it's just a perfect example of cover sell comics. So at this point, I think it's a little too late to get in on this spec. I mean, the reason it's picking up steam now is that she's rumored to have her own spinoff after Thor 4. And if she does, sure, there could be renewed interest in this book. This book could continue to go up, but it's already so high. I think it's wiser to just get in on stuff that's a little bit earlier on in the game. Next, we have Detective Comics 585, and this is the first appearance of Ratcatcher in Otis Flanagan. And this is picking up heat because James Gunn's next project could be a solo Ratcatcher film, because Key Collector was told that Gunn pitched a Ratcatcher series to HBO Max recently. One of my questions, if we get a Ratcatcher series, if it's anything as popular as Peacemaker is, this book could definitely have some potential. But one thing that I want to know is if you look at all of these new characters that have been revived from the dollar bin because of James Gunn, we've got Ratcatcher, we've got Peacemaker, we've got Polka Dot Man. He's taken all of these really obscure characters from DC and reviving them. So my question is what other characters could show up in these future James Gunn projects? Could it be, what characters could show up in Ratcatcher? So I'm definitely going to try to do some more research and come up with the most obscure, obnoxious, crazy characters like Polka Dot Man. Those seem to be the ones that he's targeting. New Teen Titans number 21, the first appearance of Brother Blood and the first appearance of Mother Mayhem. The reason this is spiking is that they are reportedly being cast for season 4 of Titans on HBO Max. It's already had 1,000% increase in copies sold. Wild Cards number 1, and in March we found out that this was optioned for Hulu, and then the project was moved to Peacock, and it's picking up interest now after being featured as a pick by Reggie Simmons on the Reggie Collects YouTube channel. And all I have to say is if Reggie Simmons gives this book his seal of approval, so do I, period. Moving on. Last Unicorn, number 1, premiere issue of a 6-issue limited series adapted from the novel by Peter Beagle. Rift War number 1. And this is another one that's going to be just incredibly difficult to find any good copies. It's this really dark cover, especially the spine. And this, from this era, 2009, Marvel Comics just used the cheapest quality paper ever. So these things are going to be just hammered. If you happen to find a good copy, this might be a good dollar bin book to look for. But again, it's that condition, because if you get a 6070 of this book, it's not going to be worth anything. So just be careful if you're going to buy a copy off eBay. You don't want to end up paying $25, $30 for a fine or a very fine copy. Daredevil, Woman Without Fear number 2, the 1 in 25 variant by Jorge Fornes. And this one cracks me up. So this is brand new this week. And it's the cover art inspired by Marvel Age number 36 by Michael Mazzucchelli. And if you look over here, this book is selling for $90 for a 1 in 25, which is a really healthy price for a 1 in 25, which isn't out of the question. But what cracks me up about this is you could get the actual comic listed right now that it homages Marvel Age number 36 from 1986, already graded at a CGC 9.4 for $69.99. Buy it now on eBay. So you could get a raw copy, which could be a 9.0. It doesn't even say if this is a near mint copy. Then you still have to get it graded, which costs money and time. Or you can get the actual thing that's already graded at 9.4, which is not bad for a book from 1986 and this quality of paper. It's not easy to get super high grade books of these Marvel Age. So, personally, I would way prefer to have the actual comic that is being homaged than the new comic that came out this week. It just... to each their own. Everybody collect what you want to collect by all means. But sometimes this market does silly things. I think we don't really put too much thought into it. And this also is just a crazy good deal for this book. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end of the video. Don't forget to pick up a set of We Live exclusives by Johnny Desjardins over at brycecomics.com. Subscribe to the channel, comment on this video, and like this video, and you're entered to win Amazing Spider-Man 289, a CGC 9.4. Sign up for the newsletter at brycecomics.com, and you're entered to win Amazing Spider-Man 362 in a CGC 9.6. And every month you stay subscribed, you're entered to win a new slab. Once again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.
Bryce Comics.